I want to ask you, are you at the point of life where you're constantly saying like, who am I? Who have I been called to be? What's the point of my life? What's my purpose? And I think a lot of us are at this point, and sometimes we don't even know it. Sometimes we don't want to admit it. Sometimes we're so scared to face it. But a lot of us get to this point, and this is where we shut down in life. This is where we get depressed. This is where we want to give up. But I want to tell you today that there is great purpose for your life, and that you got to figure out who you've been called to be. And you got to figure out the why and the purpose for your life and the things that God has in store for you that's going to move mountains in your life. That's going to open opportunities for your life. It's going to take care of you, take care of your friends, your family, your loved ones. But that's got to be figured out by who you've been called to be. That's got to be figured out within yourself. And I promise you that we can figure this thing out together. Christion Willett here, the voice of my generation. Listen, make sure that you like and subscribe so that we can continue to change lives. I want to change lives with my voice. I want to be a leader for my generation. It's not about me. This is about us. So listen, if you want to help change lives, if you want to connect with me, go follow me on my social medias, subscribe on my YouTube, go to my website, ChristianWillett.com. Through my website, you can reach out to me. You can do one-on-one calls with me. You can get me to come speak at your school or local community. And that's what it's all about. Go to my YouTube channel, subscribe. Help me grow so that we can grow together. Christion Willett, the voice of my generation. Let's get straight into it. I remember I was at the lowest point of my life. I felt so lost. I felt depressed. I felt hopeless. And I just didn't remember who I was. You ever go through seasons of your life where things are going so bad, you just don't even remember who you are. You don't even remember your purpose. You don't even remember your goals. Like nothing is happening for your life. The only thing that you can focus on is the problem. The only thing that you can focus on is how to get out of this situation. And I remember when I was at the darkest point of my life, I never forget. I remember praying. I remember reading my Bible. And the thing that kept sticking with me was you still got worth. You still have purpose for your life. You still can be something. And I remember through my relationship of reading my word and praying every day, I kept just hearing something inside of me. I kept feeling something that even though I was going through the worst things in my life, just lost my football scholarship, went back home. My dad was getting sick. He ended up passing away. My brother was in and out of trouble. Looking for jobs, bothering the family, going through hard things. Didn't know what I was going to do. Trying to finish school, trying to figure out what I want for my life. Going through all this, but I kept hearing that you're still worth it. I kept hearing that God has a plan for you, son. I kept hearing that you can still be successful. And that's what you got to understand in life, is that no matter where you are, no matter what you're going through, you've still been called. And see, a lot of us, we think, oh, I've been called by who, by what, to do what? And you got to realize and understand, you've been called with a greater purpose by God to do great things, to serve, to help, to grow, to lead. All of us have been called. And we've been called by God to do these things because it's in his word and we can trust that. And when you got to trust and believe that if I have life on earth, that the goal of my life is to build the kingdom, is to build up great things for God so that we can all serve that, so that we can all live together in peace and happiness. And you got to realize that your purpose, when you reach that and when you walk in your purpose, you're going to unleash that for everybody to see. When one person can walk, when they're aligned in their purpose, you're going to be so fruitful. You're going to help so many people. You're going to change so many lives, and you're going to live an amazing life. But I promise you, if you don't get out that depression, if you don't get out that funk, if you don't get out of your mind, you will just be in horrible thoughts. You're going to be in depression. You're going to be feeling lost. You're going to be feeling like you're empty because you don't know who you've been called to be. Right. So I want to break it down for you. I want to explain to you, right, as a person going through life, right? Me, I'm 26 years old, going through life. How do I know who I've been called to be? How do I know my purpose, right? How can I figure this out? If I do know my purpose, how do I continue to walk in my purpose? What does that look like? What does that feel like? What does that look like for my life? And I don't have all the answers, but I want to just tell you from my personal experience and what I believe can really help you. And there might be something that you may be going through that I can really help you with just my words, my voice, my encouragement, and just me coming to you. And so where I want to start with is, right, understanding this. When you're in the darkest moments of your life, or when you're in a point where you're lost in life and you don't know who you are, you don't know who you want to be, the first thing you got to do is be still and be patient. And you got to go to God and you got to ask him first, who am I been called to be? And you got to trust in God that he's going to show that to you. You got to be still, be patient. You can't be angry. You can't be sad, right? We don't went through that. Let that out. We don't let, it's good to be angry, good to be sad. Let that all out. But we can't live in it though. We gotta be patient. We gotta have a level head and a level mind. We gotta understand who we've been called to be. You gotta ask yourself, who have I been called to be? You gotta pray to God and seek who you've been called to be. You gotta go read the word, right? Read books of encouragement. You gotta go be around loved ones and family. You gotta realize who I've been called to be. And so when I remember when I first lost my football scholarship, I worked hard my whole life just to make it to play football in college, Division I. And I remember when I lost my scholarship, I sat in my room depressed. I was angry. I was upset. And I remember after all those emotions, I just picked up my word. I just started praying. And I just realized, I asked myself, who have I been called to be, God? And I remember as I was just praying and reading, I just remember being patient. Remember being still. I remember I wasn't doing nothing. I wasn't trying to, go out and make new relationships. I wasn't trying to, go do things to try to get out of certain situations. I just was still and just living my life and just trying to obey God and follow God. And I think that's a lot of times in our life why we going through this, why we feel lost, why we don't understand who we need to be, because we're not still enough to allow God to show us our purpose. And I promise you, when I got still, God introduced me to the right crowd of friends when it was the right time. God introduced me to the right opportunities that finished paying for me to go to college. God introduced me to my first job opportunity, working with kids, working in schools, speaking with kids, helping kids. God did all of that for me when I was just being still and being patient, just trusting who he called me to be. And at that time, I was depressed. I was going through it. I didn't know what I was going to do. But I stopped thinking about that. I stopped worrying about tomorrow. In that moment, I just was still and trusting God and knowing that I was called for greater. And my heart just kept telling me I still had value. My heart just kept telling me that I could do more in my life. So when I just started to trust God and just stay in God's will, read the word, and just started connecting with the right people. And I started living one day at a time. I wasn't worried. I wasn't stressing. I wasn't crying. I wasn't complaining. I was just living one day at a time and hoping that who I've been called to be was going to work out in the Lord. And I promise you, that's where you might be. You might be trying to do 100 things, trying to figure out, what I got to do this. And you might be trying to hang with people, go to the club. You might be trying to get things to fill your heart to say, okay, I can be happy doing this so I can at least buy me time. No, be still. Take time to love yourself. Take time to focus on yourself. Take time to start praying. Take time to start reading your word. Take time to just seek who you really want to be for your life. Think about your life and how you want to be remembered. Think about the people that love you. Think about what are you most known for? What are you really good at? When you're thinking about who you've been called to be, you got to sit down and find time to love yourself, seek God, seek the word. And I promise you, it's going to start to be revealed to you. Because listen, once it was revealed to me, I understood my purpose. I understood the plans God had for my life and who I am and the plans that are unfolding in my life. I understood the doors that God was opening for my life. I understood the opportunity to take because I was walking in my purpose. And I understood who I was called to be. I was called to be a leader. I was called to love people. I was called to make people smile. I was called to be the burst of energy for people. I was called to be a caregiver. I was called so other young men can see me and know that they can still be successful even though they go through hard times in life. And I knew I was called to be that because I just kept seeing God open up doors for me and I kept walking in the will and faith of God. And that's what you got to do for your life. You got to be still. Put your faith in God. Understand he got a plan. Not sleep in depression. Not sleeping in pain and sorrow and worry and anxiety. Don't forget those things. Go to God. Ask who I've been called to be, God. What I got to do, God. Go to God real. Be like, God, what I got to do. Who I've been called to be. And God will continue to open doors for you if you trust him, if you just listen, if you just pay attention. And I promise you it's going to work out for your life. And one of the things that you got to understand too, when you're walking in your purpose, it's not easy. You still going to face hard times. You still going to struggle. You still going to want to give up. But I'm telling you, God is with you. And he's never failed me. He's never failed us. I promise you, he's faithful. So if you just continue to walk in who you've been called to be, I promise you, you're going to be successful. I promise you, doors are going to open for your life. But you got to realize, you got to seek your purpose. And I'm going to tell you the flip side of that. A lot of people lost. A lot of people wandering around, just taking it, just living life, don't care. Living reckless. Or living reckless will cause you're going to end up in death. Talking any kind of way. Hanging with any kind of people. Being in certain places you're not supposed to be in. Falling for the lies of the enemy. Don't fall for those traps and tricks. Don't believe that. Don't trust that. Walk in your purpose. Walk in joy, happiness. It's easy. You can walk in joy or you can walk in pain. You can walk in happiness or you can walk in worry. You can walk in faith or you can walk in fear. It's that simple. You just make a choice. You have to every day make a choice that you're going to choose to walk in the right direction. You're going to have to make a choice every day that you're going to choose to be happy no matter what's going on around you. You can choose things. Even though life may kick you down, even though life may hurt you, you can still choose what you want to do for your life. I promise you. And a lot of us don't think it's that simple, but it's simple as a choice. The choice that you make to walk in your purpose, the choice that you make knowing who you want to be, the choice that you make to grow in your word and grow in God, grow in your faith. It's all a choice that you have to make. And a lot of us every single day are not making the right choice. For myself, it was a lot of times in my life, even moments in my life where I still don't make the right choice. But you got to understand, once you just start to make one good choice at a time, one good choice a day, just one good decision a day, it'll slowly change your life. And you'll walk into who you've been called to be. Thank y'all so much for listening. Christion Willett here, the voice of my generation. Make sure that you like and subscribe to my YouTube channel so that we can continue to grow and change lives. Listen, I need you to go over to my website. Go to my website and book a one-on-one call with me. Give me a call so that I can come speak at your church, your school, your basketball team, your football team, or just connect with me because you want to connect with me and you want to grow. I am doing this to help change lives, to make a difference. Not for myself. I am not one voice in this generation. We all together represent a generation that needs a powerful voice, and that's you. So make sure you go like and subscribe. I really appreciate you all so much for watching. Y'all, let's keep doing it. Let's have a great week. Christion Willett, the voice of my generation. I'm out.